Hey guys, I hope that you guys are doing amazing wherever you are in the world. My name is Shikha and I welcome you to my channel. I hope that you guys are doing awesome and that you're enjoying my content and that you guys are finding them useful and it's helping you become the best version of yourself as much as possible. In this video, I wanted to talk to you guys about the fact that I've discovered two countries in the world at least that INFJs are going to have a very hard time living in. At least for me specifically, I was in these two countries and I found that, or at least these two cities, and I found that it was extremely hard for me to be myself and to live in a proper way and to be my true INFJ self, because the world or the environment around me was very extroverted and very noisy and always pulling me out of my introverted shell. I think I've already talked about this previously a little bit. Maybe I have, maybe I haven't. But I think that Toronto, the city I'm in right now, I love Toronto to death. It's one of the best cities in the world to live in. The people are really nice. There's a lot of space. It's very quiet, except for obviously the planes. It's very serene, very peaceful, really green. People are very polite, and there's a lot of introverts. They allow introverts to be introverts. And so it's a really great city for an INFJ to live in, I think. I think it's a great city. I love Toronto. Just because I don't live here doesn't mean that I don't love it to death. And so, in my opinion, Toronto, very livable city for an INFJ. But New York, one of the cities I visited recently, oh my God, is it not meant for an INFJ or an introverted person in general. Not only is it very noisy and it's filled with extroverts and there's just too much extrovert stuff going on, I just found it to be really energetically wise and aesthetically wise, all the different ways. Obviously, the city itself was not suited to me being there as an INFJ. I had to hide myself. I had to be a different person. I had to be more aggressive. I had to be more pushy. I had to, do all these things that were not really who I am normally. Another city that I went to recently, or a country that I went to, was India. And not all parts of India, but the city that I went to specifically was Ahmedabad, which is in Gujarat, which is in the west end of India, and Delhi, which is the capital, and it's the north end of India. Both of those cities, again, are very noisy. So noisy that I couldn't even believe it at points. There was so much noise and cacophony around me that I really had a hard time being myself. I really had a hard time even thinking my thoughts because there was so much noise around me all the time. Not only is there a lot of noise, there's a lot of pollution, noise pollution, light pollution, air pollution, and so all of that's always inundating you. Again, not only that, but there's a lot of extroverts everywhere, always people poking at you and not enough personal space. There's so many people obviously concentrated in such a small area, so many crowds all over the place. Being a female is especially very vulnerable. Men are always looking at you, always trying to touch you or harass you or at least like whistle at you, do stupid things like that. They don't leave you alone. Not only that, but also I found that just being in my house itself or my family's house, people would not leave me alone in the house either. They'd always be asking me. It was kind of like a thing where if you sat by yourself and, if you sat by yourself and stared off into space, or you sat by yourself and read or journaled or did your own thing, it was considered like a negative thing. People would think that you were sick. Are you sick? Are you all right? You all right? Are you all right? And I think to myself, I'm just sitting by myself. I'm just enjoying my time on my own. What is wrong with the situation? But for them, they're not specifically used to that introvertedness. They're not used to people being by themselves, hanging out by themselves, all of that, right? And so the people are always surrounded by other people. People always hang out with other people. They don't hang out unless they're taking a shower, unless they're doing something intimate like that. They don't get away from other people. You sit in the living room all together, you talk all the time, you eat together, which really annoys me because I like eating on my own sometimes. You do everything together. You watch TV together. You hang out. From the time you wake up in the morning to the time you go to sleep, you hang out with people, right? Which to me is the ultimate death for an INFJ. It is the worst thing for an INFJ to do. Not only do we need a lot of space and time on our own, but we do not want to hang out with people. Especially when I first wake up in the morning, I want my own time. And especially when I go to sleep at night, I need more of my own time before I go to sleep. And so there's so many things that were not being, all these criteria that were not being met for me specifically. So that in itself tells me that I think it's a hard place to live for an INFJ, India in general. Perhaps the South is not as bad. Perhaps the north as well is not as bad. Rishikesh, Dharamshala, all those places that have a lot of yogis or a lot of spirituality in it. I've never been, so I don't know. I'm sure there are areas of India that are good for INFJs or for introverted people specifically, but I do know the places I went to, Delhi and Ahmedabad, were not conducive to being an introverted person at all. Not only that, as I said, New York was bad as well, but I've noticed that I've kind of been working with that kind of criteria for when I travel as well. One of the things that I'm always looking for when I'm traveling through the world, when I'm moving around, when I'm picking the places that I want to live in, is how do these people live and how are introverted people treated, right? I will always go to a new place and see if, are introverted people allowed to just sit on their own and drink coffee and not bugged? Are they allowed to just sit and journal and stare off into space? Are they allowed to do all that stuff without being bugged about it? That's like one of the main criteria I have for travel now. I'm not going to travel to a place. I might travel to a place for a little bit of time, but I'll never live in a place now unless I know that's conducive to introvertedness. That's why I love Chiang Mai so much in Thailand, because it's made for introverted people. There is a lot of extroverted people. There is a lot of extroverted things to do if you want that. But if you are an introvert, there's loads of coffee shops where people will never bug you. You can sit there for hours and hours reading your book, doing your journaling, doing your work. No one will ever talk to you. You can walk around all the time. No one will ever bug you. No one will ever talk to you. You can go for long, long, long walks in the city or in the jungle, in the forest nearby. No one will talk to you. No one will ever bug you. And I just love that about Chiang Mai. So Chiang Mai is definitely one of those places that I've found is really, really, really good for an INFJ and really, really good for an introverted person. Now I'd love to hear from you guys. Tell me about where you guys live, which city you live in, which country you live in, and if that city or country is conducive to your introvertedness. Do you think it's good for an INFJ to live there or bad for an INFJ to live there? I'd love to hear from you guys. Let me know. Again, if you guys have any questions at all, please message me anytime. All my contact information is in the description below. Or if you guys want to just comment below and do it in a public way, I am happy for that as well. I always love to hear from everyone. So please do message me. I shall see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.